You've probably seen this creepy video of me dancing in the middle of the night, alone, in a deserted street. They call me the Serbian lady. Who am I? Listen carefully to my story, because you could be my next victim. It all starts in 2019, with a video filmed near a hospital. Some students catch me dancing alone under the streetlights. Suddenly, I start chasing one of them with a knife. The police searched the area, but I disappeared. Legend has it that a few years ago, a woman dressed in white, probably on was dancing in the streets of Svestra in Serbia and attacking passers-by with a knife. She was hit by a car and died. Since then, videos of me dancing in various countries have surfaced, only to terrorize the web. Don't get me wrong, I'm here to freak you out. If you're out late at night, you might run into me dancing. If you meet me, don't look me in the eye, it might make me angry. I will ask you to dance with me, and then you will have two choices. Accept my invitation and I'll let you go in peace. Refuse, and I will chase you with my knife, without respite. I remember a victim, alone, walking at night. She passed me, looked me in the eye, and refused to dance. Her night ended in terror. So, watch yourself and don't go out too late at night, especially alone. Because I could be there, right downstairs from you.
How come nobody is talking about these pictures? And wait till the end of the video because it's frightening. Scientists are now being funded by the US military to create giant spiders. I gotta eat something for this one. These spiders are being created in different sizes, with some being as small as a chihuahua to others being as large as a car. Now these spiders will have implanted electrodes in them that send out electric signals throughout the body, so they're easily controlled. Basically, cyborg spiders. They've been testing this with other bugs for years now, but figured that spiders would be the best fit because they can stick on walls and carry out complicated tasks that humans can't usually do, like find their way through buildings hit by earthquakes, or retrieve and climb things hard for humans to reach. They've even created spiders with wings to use as drones, claiming that this is way cheaper than actually building fully functional drones and robots. Wait, before I continue, I'm sorry for eating this food in front of you. Just for making you suffer, your fourth at has to order you pizza now. Let me know who it is so I can tell them I said so. Now the scary part is some spiders have actually been reported of escaping. I'm told that at least 20 giant spiders have escaped in 5 different labs scattered throughout the US. So if I were you, I'd stay inside this summer.
Things under a microscope are hate. Dog's nose.
They never bother me. I feel happy and fine, living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time.
Tiny crabs.
I don't need a lot. Coffee's only a dime. Living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time.
Why the Oceanus Creepy Part 6-6. The sky is feeding birds and then fish happen. Wait for it. Look at the speed.
Acorda. Tá aqui.
Amor?
Vai embora da minha casa agora!
Deixa eu entrar.
Você não é bem-vindo aqui.
Me deixa entrar. Sou eu.
Vai embora.
Me deixa entrar.
Ele não tá passando. Ele não vai passar. Ele não passa.
Me deixa entrar.
In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself to. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls himself the Holder of Wisdom. The desk clerk will chuckle and guide you to an empty room. They will hand you a key and tell you to wait some time in the room until you hear a bell ring. When it rings, you have to lock the door through which you entered. Wait until a second ring and unlock it. Once those instructions have been carried out, the door will open all by itself and reveal a long hallway with every conceivable color painted onto the walls, ceiling, and floor. Follow the hallway until you hear a little girl singing. Stop, close your eyes, and stay where you are until the girl finishes the song. If you fail to remain perfectly still, run. Run back to the door through which you came as fast as you can. Jump through the window of the room where you waited earlier, and you might live. Should you be unable to reach the window in time, you will be dragged back into the hallway by something that is definitely not a little girl. You will be pulled by this horror until time itself ends, forever feeling the pain of every soul dragged to an early grave. If, on the other hand, you manage to remain perfectly still until the song ceases, you will free to either turn around and leave forever, or venture further into this realm. If you prefer the latter course of action, walk deeper into the hallway until you reach a human-shaped door. Open it with the same key that was given to you earlier, step inside, and close the door behind you. In the middle of the room, you will see a desk with a bright candle. Behind the desk is a man, whose face isn't visible behind the shine of the candle. Approach, but always keep the flame between you and the man's face, for if you witness what he looks like, your gaze will be fixed on his until your own hands have removed every inch of skin from your bones. Stop when you are 5 steps away from the desk. The man will raise his hand and gesture you to come closer, but do not step any further than this. Close your eyes and ask him one question. Who will bring them back together? You will hear the man rise from his chair and begin to pray in a language that you will not understand. After 2 minutes, you will hear a name. If you hear Anubis, then you had best utter your own prayers in the short time you will have to do so. But if it is Thor you hear, then you may open your eyes. You will see the man's severed head lying on his desk, still speaking. After another 3 minutes, his prayer will cease, and he will tell you how you will die. He will describe every minute detail of your horrible death, and you will be unable to move or react while he explains your end. Lastly, he will describe the one who will steal your life away from you, and go into such detail as to why it is necessary that you yourself will question which would be worse, you being murdered, or you being allowed to continue to live. Eventually, the head will finish its ghastly tale. It is Object 9 of 538. It is up to you what you do with the knowledge of your death. For now, it is inevitable.
So this video is going viral in Mexico, and basically this group of friends is camping, and they can tell they're being hunted or stalked or something. So they actually take their drone out and use thermal to follow it, and that's what you can see here. Well, then something unexplained happens. I went ahead and translated the audio, so here it is from the beginning.
Context. I went camping with some friends, and we noticed that a person started following us. During the night we felt being watched, and heard noises around us. The next day at camp we saw their tracks, and we were missing things. I raised my drone with thermal camera to follow the person and retrieve our things. The person stopped at this point. Change the vision of the drone to see the person, and this is what happened.
This is a really creepy story, and it's just unfolding in South Korea right now. There were a pair of women's shoes that seemed to be pretty hard to get, but only 12 boutiques in all of South Korea sold this particular woman's shoe. Maybe this was even like a selling point for the buyers, it seemed like a good purchase. Until every single one of those women, they get a phone call from the police. And it was strange. The police called and asked, "Hi, is this so-and-so? Did you buy the shoes at this blank boutique?" "Yeah. How did you know where I bought it?" The police told the woman, "You're not in trouble. We're just investigating a case and we need to make sure that you're alive and well." These same women would later turn on the news and find out that the police were investigating a serial killer, and that killer had a pair of these exact shoes in his apartment, and the police suspected it belonged to a victim. The police also found a dead body shoved and locked into his apartment closet. It's just so freaky. Like, a lot of people have been talking about this in South Korea because it would freak me out too. I don't know if I could ever even wear those same shoes ever again. Could you?
This photo is infamous because for nearly 10 years after 9/11, no one knew who this guy was. His family assumed that he died during 9/11, but they had no real proof. And so one day his sister was down at the memorial. There's a museum where they have pictures and the names of all of the first responders that were working that day that passed away. And so she saw her brother's name, Gary Box, but the photo that was of him was not him. They went on this long thing trying to figure out, like, did he die? What happened to him? Like, we don't know, because this is a photo of someone else, so maybe they found those remains and they just assumed it was him. After a long time of searching, they got this photo and they knew this was him. They ended up getting the email of the guy who took this photo. He said he snapped the photo shortly after the plane crashed. For the longest time though, this photo circulated and no one knew who this guy was.
Things that bother you, they never bother me. I feel happy and fine.
It's Heidi Wong, and let's get into the story of Corey Richens, the author of a children's book aimed at helping kids deal with the death of a loved one, who was arrested in Utah yesterday for the murder of her husband, Eric.
This mother of three was celebrated for a children's book she wrote about grief after her husband died.
He was 39. It completely took us all by shock.
But now a bombshell new chapter. She's accused of murdering him.
Authorities suspect she might have poisoned her husband with nearly 5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl by making him a drink the night before his lifeless body was discovered. But something's not adding up, because Corey says that night she slept in one of her children's bedrooms and went back to her own bedroom that she shared with Eric at around 3 a.m. And that's when she called 911. But the suspicious part is that Corey said her phone was charging in her own bedroom the whole time, even though her phone activity proved it was locked and unlocked multiple times between Corey going to her child's bedroom and calling 911. An unnamed person also admitted to selling Corey the fentanyl that she allegedly used to poison her husband. There's also a chance that Eric predicted his own terrifying fate, because 2 weeks before his death, Eric and Corey had dinner together. And that's when Eric suddenly got sick and told a friend that he thought his wife was trying to poison him. Corey's book, Are You With Me, has been taken down from Amazon since her murder charges, and her court hearing will be happening next week.
Who's that? Who's up there? Who is it? Who is it? Who? Who is it?
Think about the best for you. Don't forget me, I beg. I remember you said sometimes it laughs and love, but sometimes it hurts instead. Never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget me, I beg.
Creepy mysteries, deep sea creatures.
to tell you one of the creepiest stories from Key West's history. But before I do, I want to introduce myself. If you're new here, I'm Stephanie Gordon, and I am a real estate agent in the Florida Keys and lover of all things Key West. So if you also love Key West, be sure to follow. This is Alina Milagros de Hoyos, a stunning young Key West woman who was said to be so beautiful in person, people would stop her on the streets. She fell ill in 1930 and her mother took her to the Marine Hospital for blood tests, and she also received x-rays. It's here she meets x-ray technician Carl Tanzler. Here he is with his x-ray machine. Carl also has an alias. He likes to go by Count Carl von Kossel. Now, if you're asking yourself, why is there a count who's an x-ray technician? It's because he wasn't really a count. The results of Alina's test showed that she had tuberculosis, and unfortunately at that time, TB was fatal. That doesn't matter to Carl, because the moment he laid eyes on Alina, he knew she was his soulmate, or so he thought. About 10 years before Alina was even born, Van Kossel says that one of his ancestors appeared to him in a dream and told him he would marry a young woman who looked exactly like Alina. So when she came into the hospital, he was convinced this was his soulmate and they were meant to be together. Not one to let a terminal diagnosis, a 30-plus year age difference, or the fact that they were complete strangers stand in his way. He offers Alina's family experimental treatments that he says should save Alina's life. With the hopes of that being true, they give Carl the green light to perform these experimental treatments. For over a year, he performs these experimental treatments. Alina is dying and in agonizing pain. He also brings her perfume, jewelry, fruit, candy, and even a mahogany bed. He proposed to her repeatedly, and she continuously refused his proposals. Sadly, Alina died in 1931. Now, Alina's family is not wealthy, but Carl is, and he wanted his love to be properly buried. And when I say love, I mean love. So he had this huge mausoleum built. It had lighting, electricity, and get this, a telephone connected to Alina's grave. This man visited this poor young woman's grave every day for 2 years and would continue to propose to her daily via her grave telephone. Her family thought it was a little weird, but they really appreciated that he gave her a beautiful final resting place. What they didn't know was that old Carl here, he had a key to the mausoleum. And after 2 years, those telephone conversations just weren't doing it for Carl anymore. And so one night, he decided to take matters and Alina into his own hands. And believe it or not, this is where the story gets really creepy. Go to part 2.
We now know what the Grim Reaper of King Charles' coronation really was. So you've already seen this weird figure that was walking around in the background during King Charles' coronation. Many people are speculating as to what it was, thinking it might be the Grim Reaper, Princess Diana, Queen Elizabeth, or YouTuber Nico Amilana. Well, to no one's surprise, it turns out that it wasn't any of those things. Instead, it was just a verger who happened to walk in the background at the wrong time. Just take a look at what this verger is wearing and holding, and compare it to what the figure in the background is wearing. They're basically identical. Now, the actual person who was in the background during the coronation apparently wasn't part of the Abbey's clergy, but instead it's reported that there's someone who helps out with church services and sometimes carries a rod before a bishop or a priest. And again, look at the rod in this picture, and look at the rod of the infamous coronation Grim Reaper. In hindsight, you can definitely tell exactly what this is. Now, all of the Grim Reaper rumors seem to have started on Twitter, and if this wasn't explained, all of this probably would have gone down as some kind of urban legend, and years from now, our kids would probably believe that there was a real ghost caught on camera at the king's coronation.
ever seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Surprisingly, no, bro. I know the killer's Leatherface and stuff like that, but I just never seen the movies.
Alright, so Leatherface, right? He has a mask, right? But his mask is made of human flesh, right? Somebody's face. So basically this story right here is a real life case. His name was... He really, really loved his mom. Like, even though she was fucking psychotic, that's all he had, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because he tried to socialize for the first time, but since he had a speech impediment, and he also had a lazy eye, so people were like bullying him and shit, not trying to fuck with him, bro. So all he had was really his mom and his brother, right? A couple years passed, his mom died, and then in November 1957, Bernice Warden, right? She was a lady who owned a shop. She ended up going missing. So they're like, what the fuck is happening? Where the fuck is Bernice? They go to the shop, and the last person who was seen there was Ed. So the cop goes to his fucking house, bro. And then that's when they just see probably one of the most disturbing things that I'm about to talk about right now. First of all, they see a fucking mess. Then they see Bernice from her ankles and shit, obviously dead. They see a bunch of furniture and things made of human flesh. They see a lamp made of human faces. They see utensils made of human bones. His bed frame is decorated with human skulls. He also has a jacket made of human flesh. And then he made a suit with his mom's face. And he would wear it because he wanted to be close to his mom and shit. And the rest of the parts was just all from grave bodies.
Let me see the pictures, bro.
That's one, for example.
What the let me see. No way this is real, bro.
That's like a mock-up, bro.
It's a mock.
How many kids do you have?
4.
You have 3?
I have 4.
How?
You, Legacy, Lolo, and Adrian.
But you don't have 4 kids.
Why?
Don't.
Why not?
You just don't, because I don't live with you.
Where do you live?
In Sand Springs.
In Sand Springs?
Yep.
With who?
His grandfather.
Well, when you go to bed, you're here. So, you live with me.
I stayed the night.
You stayed the night with me?
Yeah, I stayed the night every night.
Where?
At your house. Because my grandfather died.
When did your grandfather die?
Well, since our house is bleeding everywhere, inside of it. Remember, whenever our house is on the street? Remember? On the street?
Your house on the street bleeds?
No, my house. My mom. She climbed up there. She turned into a monster. And she died. So now she's dead.
Your mom's dead?
Yeah. My grandfather and my mom. So now I live with you.
What's your name?
Angelie. Angelie Grace died.
Who's Angelie?
Me. That's why you have 3 kids.
Is your door locked? This is like something straight out of a horror film. You've escaped the guy trying to murder you, but now no one will answer the door, and you have left her outside too. This man was awoken to a notification from his Ring doorbell. A terrified-looking girl in nothing but a silk nightdress is at his front door. Is this a case of someone escaping a horrifying situation and begging for help from the nearest police, or is this an incredibly intelligent plan to get someone to open their door to allow an easy ambush? Watch this next part. I feel like this level of fear is Oscar winning if it's not real. This girl looks beyond terrified, and the way she tries to avoid being seen by the passing car. She seems to be trying to hide, like her life depends on it.
Alright, everybody sees me walking. I'm walking. Look. This plane isn't moving. It's not moving. But it sounds like it's moving.
Let's talk about Sally Stitches. Sally grew up in the mountains in an extremely small town. She was known as a very shy and awkward girl, but loved by everyone, except for one group of bullies who bullied her very often. One day, while she was walking home from school, the group of bullies saw her. They then took it upon themselves to throw rocks at her, laughing. Sally then did something that made the boys extremely uneasy. She pointed at one of the boys and said that in 3 days you will die. They all thought she was insane and laughed at her and went home. 3 days later, the boy woke up for school and started throwing up blood. He was then rushed to the hospital to where even the doctors had no idea what was wrong with him. He then died at the exact same time Sally told him he would. The boys then told everyone in their small village about Sally's powers, which absolutely terrified them. The group of villagers then lured Sally into an abandoned mine shaft, and once they were deep enough for no one to hear her screaming or crying, they tied her to a wooden chair and pulled out a small sewing needle, where they then sewed her lips completely together so that she could never foretell another death. They then left Sally in the chair, in the dark in the middle of this mine shaft, and completely sealed it for good. Sally then of course died inside of the mine shaft, and it's now said that since Sally died in the dark, alone and crying, that she now haunts anyone who truly knows her full story, and the reason on why she actually died. It's also stated that as soon as you hear this story, you have to pass it on to another person, or she will appear next to your bed with a sewing needle to make sure you never speak again like her. Make sure to send the story to someone else and follow for more.
Wait 1 minute, bro. They scared. Oh my God. First of all, we all know how the dollar bill be having so many subliminal messages behind this shit, bro. Now, bro, fold your dollar bills up just like this right now, bro. And then look, I'm about to point it out to y'all. Do y'all see this shit, bro? Hold on. Bro, look what the dollar bill look like, bro. What do y'all see? Do y'all see that shit? Bro, this shit is crazy. Look, I had to zoom in real quick, bro. Do y'all see the details of the mint? The mint means face, by the way, because I'm from Philly, you feel me? But look at that shit. Look at the eyes. Bro, that's a reptilian, bro. That's a reptilian. Oh my God!
One day, when he posted something strange after having a creepy encounter within the isolated desert with something unknown, something that tried to lure him over.
Just coming in from planting those trail cameras. There's vultures everywhere. It's odd.
Ever since then, it would seem that whatever was out that day set its sights on luring this man over, perhaps to meet his demise. Late one evening, on another day, he experienced the same thing.
Just saw, looked almost like a coyote run right across here. That sounded like a kid. Or a goat.
Something that sounds like a goat or a little boy can be heard off in the distance. And after enhancing the brightness as he zooms in, it looks like something can be seen on the ground, but it's too hard to make out what it is. Fully convinced he is being watched by a skinwalker or some other type of entity, he decides to get a night vision camera and begins thoroughly searching the desert in hopes of finding whatever is lurking around. Most of the time, it seems that he is onto something, but whatever it is, it's as if it's close, yet too far at the same time. However, he does capture something one night. Something completely black stands out when he shines the light from his torch. Many viewers were quick to say it's a crouched shadow figure, while others thought it was an animal or some object. But wisely, he didn't dare risk getting closer to it. And later on, he decided to do a live stream in which the voices could also be heard.
You hear that voice? The horse is looking over there. What is it, Gypsy? Shit. See, they are freaking out. They're hearing it.
We can see both horses react, staring off into the direction of the sound. Some people say the further away it sounds, the closer it actually is. On another night, while using the night vision camera, he captures some movement. This, along with what looks like a shadow figure or some creature off in the distance, is the closest he has come to capturing whatever is following him. I've seen cases like this before, with people hearing voices at different distances, and in some cases their own voice is mimicked and used against them. But just what do you think? Is this a real skinwalker or something unknown?